system that we're in, and art is the revolution. Art is that resistance. Art is literally reclaiming your own soul, like your own identity, your own sovereignty, kind of, because you're like, you can't take this from me, you cannot tell me.
Hello, my name is Brandi Hofer. Welcome to the Color Me Happy podcast. I'm so grateful you're here, and I'm very grateful for your time. You are going to feel so empowered with our episodes and our guests because they live a truly passionate life. They're excited about what they do. They know that creativity matters and that your art matters, and that it matters to following your passion in life to ultimately see your everyday ordinary as extraordinary. These episodes are almost unedited, very raw, so it'll feel like you're sitting down for coffee with a friend. Feel free to reach out anytime at Brandi Hofer Studios on Instagram and subscribe for more content just like this. Thanks for being here.
Very nice to meet you. And you're from the Oregon?
Yep. Oregon. A lot of people pronounce it like that. Yeah.
That's okay. No one knows how to say Saskatchewan either, so.
I'm not going to even attempt that. Like, no.
Yeah. Welcome. I'm so happy to have you here. I'm really excited to talk about your topic and how you got into it. As a creative, because it's such a beautiful thing to share and connect to your creativity. But you didn't just connect to it. You have your degree in psychotherapy, or how does that work? Where did that start?
Yeah. So a little bit about me. I am a licensed psychotherapist. I have a master's in clinical social work and clinical psychology. So that's my academic background. That's been my professional, commitment for the past, I would say, going on 13 years now. And I'm currently in private practice, but I did a huge chunk of my time, about 8.5 years, in community mental health. So crisis, yay. We know how to deal with it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was very interesting how these two worlds kind of like, coincided for me, the world of art and the world of healing. I feel like it was just natural and just a journey, that's how I see it.
Yeah. My friend Heather is a therapist as well, and she loves combining creativity with her practice. She doesn't consider herself an artist, but I'm like, I think you are. Like, you are. You can be. All you have to say is I'm an artist too. So was that always there for you, or was there a specific time where you're like, I want to combine this into my practice?
I think I would completely have that very in common with Heather, because for a long time I didn't touch art for like 10 years of my life. That's like most of my 20s. I used to make art till I was a teenager in high school, just sketching, and it was never like actively encouraged. I'm South Asian, so naturally we were told to either be a doctor or some other like STEM field kind of profession. So art was always like not really encouraged in like the stratosphere where I was. So
to be fair, I don't think it's encouraged anywhere.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's pretty sad. And I think I kind of like I gave into that conditioning because, again, I was a child. I didn't know better. I now reflect back, and I think when I work with a lot of creative people in my therapeutic work, and when I hear about their challenges with art school and the critiques and how they don't feel connected because it felt like they were forced to do something that was not authentic, and more like they had like commercial aspirations, like kind of like selling it or making money or being very sort of like very kind of like, just kind of like creating some kind of like sensationalism with their art, like where it's like very shocking or very political, kind of like that. And they were like, that's just not me. And then they faced a lot of like criticisms and endured some wounds during the journey of their creative learning. And I feel like that was a blessing in disguise for me, because I'm completely self-taught. It just found me at a time in my life where, you know, it was just me and my life. And then art came around. So I don't know where I was going with that, but I hope that answers.
I attended 2 institutions that were for art, and did exactly what you said. Came away from this, very structured way of thinking and this very defined way of success. And it didn't feel authentic, just like you mentioned. Like it just wasn't. And so and how can it be? How can they cookie cutter something and offer this to everyone? You can't. Creativity is not a streamlined process, and the path looks very different for everyone. So I don't think there's a right or wrong way to get there. And specifically, like a lot on social media, people always are like, that's not drawing, or this is not. And you're like, how can you say that? Why? What gives you the right to tell people what they're doing is not the right way of creating? Why aren't we just supporting one another in and empowering one another in like, wow, that is so cool. I love it. I want to try it. Or great job. I admire you for what you do. Or I'd love to collect your art, or anything that is calling to you. And I felt that like in art school, it was very competitive, and that I didn't like that either. And I actually got into film in the like film community. I was like, they're working together, and it was so fun. But then that like, wow, maybe that stereotype of what an artist should be wasn't for me, but I still love being an artist. So when did you claim your art status? When did you get comfortable with saying like, I am an artist?
Well, for me, that happened when I started realizing that this was that, like, I don't know, fountain of rejuvenation that I guess I hadn't tapped into. And just like, it brought me like so much joy to just learn. And, I got connected to a small little artist community, and I'm gonna name her Lindsay Arno. And I don't know if that's how you say her last name, but she's also based in Canada. And just like, she was just so inspiring. And I was like, and then how she worded things, like, you have to claim this as a part of you and your identity. And then I was like, yes, this is me. This is who I am. And I at first felt a little cringy, like kind of mentioning that I'm an artist, kind of felt like I don't have many credentials under my belt or something, like I don't have a degree in art. I'm not taught. I haven't taken any
Coming
courses.
From a very academic world.
Right. And it felt a little strange to claim that I'm an artist. And then, imposter syndrome gets its ugly head out and is like, no, you're not good enough to be an artist, and that kind of stuff, And so again, it took a lot of like self-awareness and self-learning and sort of coming into my own sort of like, who am I, And that kind of started when the pandemic hit. When the world slowed down, I had to slow down. My, otherwise I felt like I was, for a long time, and I'll go into that, not with a lot of detail, but just the 10 years of my life that I feel like I sometimes grieve those 10 years that I did not make art, that why was I not living creatively? Why was I not expressing myself? And I had so much repression, emotional repression, because I was living in this like fight, flight, freeze kind of state. And finally, when life slowed down, I found myself living more in like a solitude, and just again was not competing. I was not living for someone else. I was not living inauthentically, trying to please other people. And, you know, I was just started to breathe, you know, not just
And that's
exist.
very important for creatives.
Exactly.
Is to give yourself space to slow down. Do you think it's more common for women to live because we are strong multitaskers, but we tend to do more just because we can, and then you are caught in this fight or flight spin-off, and then you hit burnout, and then you just kind of fall into it again? Do you think, like, as a woman, you did fall into that routine? And not only that, but like, I almost dislike imposter syndrome. Like, why is that in us? Like, why can't we claim that we love this? And even if we're not there yet, even if we're at 65% of figuring it out, like, why do we have to like try to hit perfection before we can say, I like this, or it's done, or I'm doing this, or I'm writing a book, or I'm running this retreat, or whatever? Like, you might not have the answer, but I'm just, isn't that frustrating? And I'm frustrated when I see women like doing that, when they're like, oh, I don't know if I should post my art. I'm like, why wouldn't you? Well, I'm not an artist. I'm like, post your fucking art. Or I'm trying not to swear as much on my podcast, but it's really hard. It's part of my vocabulary. And
it's all good.
I'm in my Canadian tuxedo. I'm trashed right down. This is me, everyone. Yeah. Why are we so apologetic? Why are we, so afraid to show who we are, claim what we love? Like, yeah. It's very interesting.
Yeah, I didn't realize I had an imposter syndrome as bad as when I surprisingly, not maybe this is going to be a surprise for people listening or who know me, in like a couple years back, I got approached by a mentor, we could say, and she was like, I really love your art, and you need to submit your art for this like juried award. And it was like this big deal. It's from my country of origin, so in Pakistan. And like, it's called Sadiqain Pride of Performance. Even the name is like so huge. It's like, oh my God. And like, and then when I got it, I was like so uncomfortable. Like, I was like, wait, what? This was a mistake. This didn't happen. And I felt extremely uncomfortable. I felt like now I was under a spotlight, and I realized that it's not just imposter syndrome. We also sometimes can have a fear of being seen, and like, where you're like, now you can be criticized. Now people are looking at you. And that was like a realization that, oh my God, what was that? I still feel like I reflect back on that, and I'm like, wow, I feel like I haven't fully even owned it, and I'm gonna just say it to own it now. You know what I mean? Like, it's a way to own it. It's just to claim that this is the vulnerability that comes with it, the creative energy that we have. And but imposter syndrome, fear of being seen, all stem from those early attachment wounds, the conditioning that we receive, as young children. Not everyone gets parents who are, wanting to encourage your creative side and not critique your art. And then a lot of wounding happens in school, because schools impose a certain level of like perfection. So the tree needs to look very realistic. The tree has to be green and brown. You know what I mean? So it's it goes back. It goes very deep. And that's a lot of my work when I work with women, is to help them kind of access and tap into that creative side of them before the world told them that they're not good enough, that their creativity is not good enough.
Mm-hmm. So it's interesting with like your background in education and then the experiences that you've had and claiming who you are and what you want to be, and probably still working on, your identity and what that means, and being vulnerable. But do you think that has helped you to empower other women to take on that creative path or choice or claiming their own creativity?
Absolutely. Naturally. I just loved like all the women and even some men that I connected with through this journey of art, especially through sharing my art, because that was a big step. I just used to have like a private Instagram account that I would just share to my friends and family. And then eventually I was like, I need to give it some proper, proper space and showcase it better. So then I created my account, Paint Your Piece with Arooj, and just got connected with so many wonderful souls and just kind of seeing and witnessing. And that's why I admire the work you've been doing. And the algorithm games are just weird. We sometimes don't see the people we want to see, and they disappear into the void, and then we come back. So I'm just so glad that we were able to reconnect. And the other thing is that that's one reason why I started offering retreats, because I wanted to work more closely and more curating the experience for women, which combined like healing, art, poetry, dance, music. And that's why I've been creating my offerings for retreats that are more informed through expressive art. And, also finding art and healing and a connection with the soul. So the connection with the divine, the source, So I love doing the one we did with Oregon State University here at the Marigold Center. And it was like inspired by Rumi's poetry, because I just personally find that very inspiring. And, and it was such a wonderful experience, and we got some amazing feedback. So I'm looking to offer more of those more in a virtual format, so that it's available for a lot of people to join from wherever. But
so
that
expanding into in-person, and online. In person, walk me through. You've just done it the one time?
Yeah, I only did it one time, and but it was last November, and it was my learning experience too, in how to really work with a group, how to create that safe container for the group so that they can truly fully tap into that, like, expressive side, that creative side, and let go. And just, for women, like there were women from all ages, like 20s, 30s, 40s, even up to 70s. And it was just fascinating, just to hear their like experiences. And when we did like a process of the whole experience in the end, and just like what they shared, and some of them were like having this like emotional, they were like, I didn't know I had this. And it sort of like thaws out some block, some kind of like some energy that was stuck in them. And they feel like, and those are emotions, many times those are unexpressed emotions that were, just out of fear, they were hidden, and then art brought it out. So movement and that kind of thing. So music and, poetry. So it's just really inspiring.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
You kind of forget as a creative yourself, and when you're in a creative routine and you listen to music and you paint and you draw and you write stuff down and whatever you're doing, like you're just like, that's just a part of life. But it's not for everyone. So you forget when you encounter others or you introduce them to something, or you spend some time with them and they're like, you know, you're like, oh my gosh, I forgot that this isn't like, they're not allowed to be this way. And I just gave them permission. And sometimes that is like a very shocking or powerful moment for them in their lives, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And what's funny is that in order to promote that retreat event, we did like a tabling with the Medical Center at OCU here in Oregon at the farmers market. And I was just there in person, and I wanted to engage the community. So I had a canvas out, and I had like paints and like a paint station, and I was just kind of smiling and inviting some people over to come and try. There were some realizations I learned. Kids were the first ones to come, and they wanted to, like, you know, just scribble, and we kind of did like a tree of life. So the whole community kind of like scribbled things, and it was mostly kids who wanted to do it. And then there were like their parents I would ask their parents, like, hey, would you want to try it? And they would be like, no, I don't want to do it. So there would be like this hesitation, right? Some people think that it's just something kids do. Like art is something, like visual art is something just kids do, like painting, drawing, whatever. And I find that very sad, because like, well, you have no idea how much joy you could feel, and you can tap into that. You probably excited, new color pencils and new crayons and paints and all that, but you should give it a try, please. You know, so again, it's just interesting to observe how different people approach art. And in the healing work that I do, we try to undo that. We try to reframe that, remove some of those fears, and then they unlock things that, you know, especially that emotional rigidness that people sometimes feel they're stuck in one kind of emotion, you know, like fear or anxiety, and have those kind of things.
Well, it's almost like educated out of people, right? Unless you have the unique circumstances of, like for our public school system, I now run an art academy. So like these kids are really lucky because someone decided that I was good at teaching. I don't have my teaching degree, but they were like, come and do whatever you want in our school and it's going to be amazing. And it is. But like, so those children have the opportunity that I never had as a young person. So the fact that I kind of snuck through school with the ability that very limited abilities or experiences that I had, and I went and pursued it, was like highly unlikely. Like there are not a high percentage of artists coming out of where we live, and it's caused by industrialization, and they're just putting people into this mold to, you know, feed the cog or the machine. They're a cog in the machine, which I don't want to talk about politics necessarily, but it's political. Art is political. So, and then people say, I'm not creative. I'm like, well, you cook and you scrapbook and, or you sketch, or you like whatever you do, you read, that's creative. Like you write things down, you like whatever you do, like you bake, like it's creativity. You know, the way you love music, or the way, like there's so many ways to be creative, and know that humans instinctually, obviously, because we, like you said, we see it in children. And so where is this part of yourself that, you know, where you didn't feel vulnerable when you were expressing yourself? Like, where did that go? Like, being totally raw, right? Yeah.
You're so spot on that. Like, it's all because, you know, where it's that, again, not to make it sound political, but it is that industrialization, that capitalistic kind of system that we're in. And art is the revolution. Art is that resistance, you know. Art is literally reclaiming your own soul, like your own identity, your own sovereignty, kind of, because you're like, you can't take this from me. You cannot tell me what I can do with this, what colors I can do, or what words I can put together, what music I can do, what kind of dance I can do, you know. It's the ultimate freedom where we can be who we really are. And I think that's a gift. It's free. It's like you don't even need to spend anything to do it. It's just a shift in the mindset, you know? It's literally like understanding that you were born creative. You came out of, creation, and that's you. That's the essence. So it's an amazing process. And when I witness that with other people, or try to like, encourage and facilitate that in my work with expressive art, it's just amazing. I just sit back and watch, and then like what comes out of that, So,
How do you feel about perfectionism?
oh God, perfectionism. That's the bane of our existence, I feel like, and the comparison, the competition, I feel like on one hand, it's good to improve yourself and feel inspiration. So what I try to do is I see anytime where I find myself like thinking like it's not good enough, or I'm being high, especially in the ugly stage of a painting, right? You want to just be like, oh, I just want to like throw you away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or when you work really, really hard and then you're like, it's not, it doesn't have that oomph that I wanted. You know what I mean? Then you're just like, it's okay. I tried and I will try again. And you just show up again. I think the antidote to perfectionism is consistency. You just show up again. You don't give up, you don't give up, and you just continue, and you keep going, and you try to do better. And you continue your inspiration. You don't give up on your inspiration. You don't let your inspiration turn into like, feelings of insecurity. So keeping those things in check. So again, that perfectionism comes from a lot of things can feed it, then perfectionism can feed into burnout, which is what many artists sometimes feel. They feel like, oh, the term creative block, right? They're like, I can't think of anything. I'm not inspired. I've lost all my energy. I don't even want to, I feel triggered when I go into or see my blank canvas, or I can't produce anymore, right? That's literally when we have to just slow down, disconnect, step back, and go inward,
Or
like
go outward, outside.
yeah, go
Right?
outward, go into
outside.
nature, right?
Yeah.
Just like kind of go inward. I meant like spiritually, go
I
connect
know.
with your soul. Yeah. And that's what I tell people. I'm like, don't go in your head too much, stay in your heart, and yeah, it's just amazing to see the process, experience it myself, and just share that vulnerability with the people I work with.
Oh, that's wonderful. You have a gift that you're sharing with the world. I have one last and final question. If you had unlimited funds for one day for your community, what would you do?
Oh, unlimited funds. I would love to, yeah, again, I think I would just again love to just give people a space, and like help facilitate and design a space for people where they're not limited by funds, they're not limited by supplies or access or resources, and literally just have so many options for people, because again, it's expression. People want to express in so many ways, and just create like a facility, or turn a park into like an outdoor color, I don't know, painting area, I don't know, just like, and they can do anything, and just literally turn into like kids. I would want that, everyone to just be their younger selves, experience that joy one more time.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. I know I love that exhibition where the painter, I was like, that's like my art studio with my kids, where the painter just had everyone painting from carts on the wall and it dripped all over the floor and everywhere. And I was like, this is my favorite. This is what I'm, this is what you want to share with the world. Like that same feeling that you get every time you step into creativity, right?
Yeah.
You're like, why doesn't everyone else do this? Right? Well, it's so wonderful to meet you. Thank you so much for coming on. And where can everyone find you?
You can find me on Instagram. My Insta name is Paint Your Piece with Arooj. I'm working on a website, and I will be offering a new retreat, and it will be virtual, so anyone can join. And more details to come. But thank you so much, Brandi. This was a lovely conversation.
Oh, thank you. And yeah, go follow Arooj to find the retreat info, and it sounds lovely. So I can't wait to learn more about it, and we'll chat soon.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
If you have any questions, feel free to reach out on Instagram at Brandi Hofer Studios anytime. I'm happy to chat. That's where I sit. And I'm so glad you're here, and I cannot wait for you to dive in. So give us a like and subscribe, and check the rest of our channel.
If you want to feel empowered and inspired, like and subscribe for more. And if you want to get creative, check out all our art hacks on this channel.